Hello, welcome to Game Center Live. This is our weekly show here at NYU Game Center where we talk about news, talk about what's going on, and also, wait, where's Toni and Gwyn? Can you go get Toni and Gwyn? Where we also talk about what's going on in the industry, feature some guests and stuff. Today we have some sports news with Tony Pizza and Gwyn Forgum Thrift. Where are the captions? Oh, okay. Were the captions not showing up? Okay, cool. We are also going to talk about advanced Puyo Puyo Tetris with Logan Clare. We're also going to be looking at an Apple Arcade word game called Dear Reader, and with Diego Garcia and Alexander King. Then we'll also have our fan favorite, The Discourse, where Naomi and Frank just go through the news and give their insightful or sometimes less than insightful opinions. No, always insightful opinions. And then we'll try to close out with some Shenmue 3. We always like talking about the zeitgeist going on here. I did not tweet about this at all. We need to notify everyone. Hold on. Okay, let me do that. Let me tweet real quick. But while I'm tweeting, how's everyone's day going? Is everyone's day going okay? I'm just going to tweet about this so we can get more people in here. Last broadcast of sports news, competitive advanced Tetris. Sorry, you're just watching me type into my computer as I tweet right now, which is not the best look, but almost done. Hold on. Discourse with and F-Plants. This is speed tweeting, people, and some Shenmue 3. And then what's our URL again? Okay, wait, I think I remember. Twitch.tv/NYU Game Center. Okay. Live tweeting. That's what live tweeting is, okay? Okay, let's jump into our announcements, I think. Also, apologies if you hear any background noise. Those are just our students who are really excited for Fighting Games Week right now. They're all playing Smash and Tekken, or losing at Tekken. They don't look that good, that's just my opinion. But maybe they'll surprise me, who knows. Okay, let's just go to announcements. First of all, let's see. First of all, tonight is our winter show here at NYU Game Center. We are closing out the year with it, kind of. It's 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. This is kind of a casual event meant to demo your work-in-progress projects or hang out with classmates. It's not really like a big public thing. If you consider yourself like friends and family of the NYU Game Center, then that's cool. Come and hang out with us. But if you don't really know that much about us, or you feel like you're a stranger, this isn't like our big public show. Our big blowout public show is more in the spring. But if you're in the city and want to come hang out with us, feel free. That's tonight, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Next one. Killer Queen 5v5 Fridays are still going on. Killer Queen 5v5 Fridays are where you can hang out with some of the best Killer Queen players in the world and play for free on our Killer Queen cabinets. You can't really see them. They're back there. Talk to Charles Pratt or join the Killer Queen NYC Facebook group for more on that. That's every Friday at 7 p.m. on the 6th floor lounge here at 370 J Street, although we will probably not be doing it over the winter break. So I think tomorrow is probably the last 5v5 Friday. So if you've ever wanted to get in on that, make sure you do that tomorrow. Baby Castles is also doing its big fundraiser party. That's on Saturday, December 14th, featuring lots of games, music, and performances. Make sure you go buy tickets at babycastles.com and support your local DIY games gallery. And also our cousins down on the 4th floor at 370 J Street, that's the ITP and IMA program. They are doing a winter show this weekend. Sunday, 12, December 15th, 2 to 6 p.m. and also Monday, 4 to 8 p.m. Kind of weird hours, but you know, it's the weekend, so it's a little bit funny, and NYU's a little bit funny over the weekends. That's at 370 J Street, 4th floor, so please check out their show. They'll be featuring a lot of installations, a lot of interactive art, and maybe even a few games. Who knows? And as usual, please check out our website, gamecenter.nyu.edu. Also, please check out our Facebook, our Twitter, and also our YouTube. And that's it for announcements. Let's move on to our first segment of the day. Our first segment of the day is the Sportswoman with Gwyn and Toni. So come on over here. Here are your mics. Mic up. I'm going to just fuck off the screen here. You sit here. And I will control your things. And make sure it's turned on to hold down the button until it's orange. And I'll just hide over here. Toni,
cool.
Take a seat.
Am I on? Good to go?
Yeah, I think you are.
All right, cool.
Okay, let's cut to the feed.
Okay, cool. Hello, we're back.
Hello.
We are the Sportswomen. We run a weekly email newsletter about women's sports, which you can subscribe to at bit.ly/thesports-woman.
Include the capital letters and the dash.
The dash. So we're going to give some of the top women's sports news of today, which right now isn't much because a lot of the leagues are out of season, but
Women's sports leagues.
Women's sports
or at
leagues.
least our favorites, soccer and basketball.
But there's plenty of stuff still going on.
Okay, I'm just going to go in order of the links.
All right, cool.
Okay, great.
So yeah, first.
First. Okay, so our content that we plan today is some stuff that you can read, listen to, and watch over the winter break. So we'll be out for a few weeks, but this will keep you busy in the meantime.
Yeah.
So the first one, I'll let you start with the first one.
Yeah, so the first one, so Megan Rapinoe has been racking up the awards and accolades lately.
She really has been.
So she was awarded Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
She also won the most recently won the Ballon d'Or, which is like a big soccer award for an individual player, awarded by a French football magazine. She also won FIFA Best Sports Player of the Year.
And the U.S. Women's National Team, which you'll see in another link later,
Yeah.
is on the cover of Time for the Player of the Year. I think they collectively won Player of the Year. I think that they should have a separate issue for each player, a separate cover for each player. But then they can all collectively be the Player of the Year.
Yeah, we both disagree on Megan Rapinoe and her greatness a little bit.
We don't totally disagree. I've come around.
Yeah, but
We argue about it a lot.
Yeah, can we skip to the next link? So this is scroll down to the women.
They always put the.
So this
there
is
we
the
go.
ranking for who won for the Ballon d'Or prize this
Yes.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is interesting because Megan Rapinoe blew out the competition.
Oh yeah, so these are all of the nominees, which team they played for, and how many points they got from the judges.
Yeah. So I was pretty surprised by this, honestly, that Megan Rapinoe was so far and away, and it seems like a lot of people were also pretty surprised too, because she didn't play. She played at the World Cup this year, but other than that, she did not play that much soccer.
Right. She did. She played at the World Cup, and she had some really important moments.
Yeah.
But she also didn't play the semifinal match. She was out. She was hurt. So I think she compared to most of these players, missed a lot of
season with the Reign FC.
Yeah.
And put up a 0 goals, 0 assists stat line for the entire season, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's sort of surprising that she was so far ahead, given that I think Lucy Bronze, Ada Hegerberg, Vivian Miedema have had really good club seasons as well as really strong World Cups.
Right.
Individual awards for soccer are sort of weird in
So
general.
they're so weird.
Which is why I think it's very cool that can we skip to the next one? Yeah.
Or here, I can give you.
All right, cool. Oh, do I just hit? Oh, sweet. Okay. So that the Times Athlete of the Year is the whole team.
Yeah.
It makes so much more sense for soccer awards.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to say that Megan Rapinoe really like won the World
Did it
Cup or
alone?
anything. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
there's no World Cup without like Rose Lavelle or Alyssa
Alyssa
Nair.
Nair.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. And cool that
the rest of the team.
Yeah, Time's recognizing some women in sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that in this team photo, they've also got all of their subs and backup players. So like some of these players like didn't step foot on the field during the World Cup, but they still are like considered like integral to the makeup of this team.
Yeah.
So I love that about soccer. I think it's like really good. You need those like support players.
Yeah, exactly. And they're also just good for team chemistry. I know that's like a lot of times an important part of like even if they're not playing, that they're there.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, should we move on to the next topic?
To the next topic? Yeah.
Very
The next
cool.
topic, not soccer, but our other favorite sport, basketball. Okay, this is a podcast, ESPN's 30 for 30 podcast. This podcast overall has been super hit or miss for me, but this episode is incredible.
Yeah, I had honestly never listened to it before, and I'd listened to this episode, and it's so I can't believe this isn't like a movie. It's so good. So it's about Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. So most WNBA players during the off season go play overseas to make money because they get paid like
Nothing here.
nothing here, and they get paid like 6-7 figure salaries to go play in like Russia, Europe, other countries. So this is about their story going to play in Russia for this like wild Russian billionaire KGB spy guy who's a real character, and it's sort of an interesting story about this man was just like so passionate about basketball that he
Like bought a women's basketball team.
and like molded it in his image around what he like wanted. He just wanted to make like a great team, so he figured out all of these like semi-shady ways to get like a bunch of American players on a team.
To like come and play on his team and other teams in that league. It's called I can't say. It's
called The Spy Who Signed Me.
The Spy Who Signed Me.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are into like I don't know, espionage, intrigue, basketball. Hearing about what Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi do when they're like given some guy's credit card and told to go on a shopping spree. There's like everything.
Yeah. It's
Also, it gets really sad. I cried during the episode.
Yeah, I almost cried like twice.
Yeah.
Which has never happened to me before the podcast, I don't think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think I would go so far as to say this could be the best 47 minutes and 44 seconds of your travels home for the holidays.
Yeah, so definitely go.
Or even the holidays in general. It's that good.
It's that good.
Yeah.
And when it is a movie, you should go see it.
Yeah.
It has to be a movie.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to our final topic. Okay, so this is some Twitch on Twitch promotion here.
Yeah.
Twitch.
Twitch. So the National Women's Hockey League, it was unclear if they were going to be back in
This
general.
year,
They
were
having
striking.
some funding troubles. And they are going to be back, and they're going to be back on Twitch. So Twitch TV is going to stream all the National Women's Hockey League games.
They are streaming them. They're happening now. The season's on now.
Oh, okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
So as you might surmise, Tony and I aren't the biggest hockey fans, but we've decided that now that it's on Twitch, we're going to vow to watch at least one hockey game over the winter break. So we want you to join us in the hashtag Watch One Hockey Game Challenge.
This will continue throughout the whole NWHL season. I think every game for every team is on there for free, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
That's one of the big problems in women's sports is that it's hard to find the games, let alone like for free. So this is great news.
And there's a bunch of good
Team
names to pick from.
Yeah.
We have the Buffalo Buttes,
The Boston Pride,
the Metropolitan Riveters, the Minnesota Whitecaps, and then our favorite team, who I think we'll root for,
the Connecticut Whale.
which is the singular whale.
Yeah, a singular whale. I was trying to think of like why. I don't think there are any other sports teams that are singular animals.
And an animal?
Yeah. So if you can think of one, you should put it in the message board. I don't know what that's called. The chat. The stream chat.
Yeah, put it in the Twitch forum on the side there.
Yeah. I can't think of any.
Another singular animal team?
Yeah, because there's like the Bears, the Dolphins, the Broncos. Yeah.
The Connecticut Whale.
The Connecticut Whale.
All in on the Connecticut
Yeah,
Whale.
so choose your team, follow along. We will watch at least one game. And if you watch some games and get really into it, tell us about
Yeah,
it.
tweet at us.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it.
I think that's it. We'll be back in the new year with some more sports news. Until then, bye.
Play ball.
Play ball.
Thank you so much, Gwenna and Tony, and thank you. Sports are the best games? Are sports still the best games? Sports are still the best games. You heard it here. Okay, are you good? Okay, cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to our next segment. Our next segment is we're going to learn about some advanced Tetris techniques here with our tech coordinator, Logan Clare.
Happy to be here.
Let
me get mic'd up.
Yeah, here you go. And then let me try to dock your switch. So today's a really fun day because we're hooking up all these different devices into our capture card and just praying it works. No, you should hold that down. There we go. Okay, so hopefully
Fingers crossed. We get a
we won't even know until we just switch over.
Switch, right?
Oh wait, no, that's still. I didn't even plug in the HDMI in. This is amateur hour. I'm sorry.
Way to go! I was so prepared. Did you see me practicing over there?
What? No, you were practicing the hand motions and stuff, getting warmed up.
Oh yeah, it's esports, baby.
Wait, so tell us a little bit about your expertise and background with Tetris.
My background with Tetris, it's not super crazy. Are you familiar with Awesome Games Done Quick, the speedrunning marathon?
Oh yeah, sure.
So that's sort of where the interest started. There was a Tetris the Grandmaster showcase. Tetris the Grandmaster, specifically TGM3, is a Japanese version of Tetris that is extremely hard to play. If you're very good at it, you can become a Grandmaster ranking, and there's you could probably count on your hands how many Grandmasters there are in the world.
Of Tetris.
Of Tetris the Grandmaster, specifically that game. So they had a showcase with one of the Grandmasters, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. So I just started playing, and this was about 4 years ago. And then I started getting better and better and looking up all these strategies and found out that it's this expansive game with, I don't know, it's such a simple game, but when you really look at the details, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful puzzle game. And yeah, I just started, I think 2 years ago, I started playing with the intent to be good at it.
Wait, so there's a big worldwide community of skilled, very good Tetris players. It's like the chess of games.
It is, yeah. And it's as if chess had several different iterations too. Because when you think of Tetris, you probably think of classic Tetris on the NES. That is a completely different wheelhouse. I can play pretty well with modern Tetris, which is what we're going to play today. But classic Tetris is completely different. It's like a true randomizer. We'll get into the details a little bit
later. Oh my gosh, okay.
But yeah, it's every single game has different rules.
Let's
today,
cut over and let's see if that works. Oh my god,
the switch.
We did not turn the switch on.
Went to sleep. It's
okay. Oh my god.
We're back in.
Oh yay!
All right.
Let's check the game. Let's make sure the game audio isn't too loud.
It's a very loud game.
And destroying everyone.
Yeah. I'm gonna put this here. All right. Okay, so I guess I'll just start out. Let's just go into an average marathon mode. What is it doing? It's showing all the high scores. We don't need that.
Wait, Julia, can you move it so we can see the screen? Sorry, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to a marathon mode. I'm just gonna go through the simple introduction to Tetris. So this is Tetris 101. This version of Tetris is called Puyo Puyo Tetris. I chose this because this is what's called a guideline Tetris. Guideline basically means if there was a game that came out, I don't know, basically after the year 2000, it's a guideline Tetris game. Guideline Tetris means a few things. One, probably the most important thing, all of the pieces are always going to be the same color. So the T piece here is always going to be this purple.
Julia, can you switch over the game on the stream info too? To switch over the game on the stream info? Okay, cool. Awesome.
So yeah, all the pieces are always going to be the same color, and that matters because the way that I play Tetris and that a lot of people play Tetris is just through peripheral vision. You see the like.
Wait, you're not even, what are you looking at?
So my eyes are usually right at like the top of the stack. So I'm just gonna like shut up for a moment and see how fast I can play here.
Oh my god, it's like you're not even like doing. What? That doesn't even make sense. What you're doing?
I'm essentially, I'm essentially just keeping my eye on
the
the top
pieces
of the
don't
stack.
even drop.
And see, you can. That's the other thing about guideline Tetris is you can hard drop. So there's a ghost piece that's also an attribute of guideline, and then if you push up, you hard drop the piece.
So the peripheral.
And the peripheral vision is what helps me. I don't really look at much else other than the color of the pieces. It's really funny because if you talk to like pro Tetris players, they're like, "You got to position the J piece here, and then the L piece here." I'm just like, "It's red, it's blue, it's like green, yellow."
If anyone in the chat, by the way, has questions
Yeah,
about how this godly play is happening, let us know, and we're happy to forward questions.
I will definitely answer any questions. So that's one attribute that's very important is the color being the same thing.
Yes.
Another attribute is the way that the pieces actually come out of the bag. It's called a bag, and it's the random number generator basically of this game. Classic Tetris, the reason I said it was totally different, that's truly random. Every single piece can be one of 7 Tetris pieces, and that's where you get the meme of like, where's my eyepiece? Like, why can't I get an eyepiece?
Wait, what's an eyepiece?
The eyepiece is this long one here. That's like how you get a
I just called that the long boy.
The long boy. Yeah, well that's, again, I think that's the only piece I actually know by its letter name.
Wait, but that's official terminology. Like most players
really
would call it the eyepiece.
Yeah, they call it, there's the eyepiece, S, Z, J, L, O, and T. Those are all the pieces.
Because wasn't this like a hot topic in the news recently? Like,
are you talking about like the fake names where it was like Kiwi?
Yeah, some article.
And, like Wiggly Boy or something like
Someone
that.
got pranked. Some news, some poor journalist.
Did you see that they actually used that on a Jeopardy question too?
Right. Oh my god.
It was amazing. So yeah, the way that the pieces come out in Guideline Tetris is called a mixed bag. So every 7 pieces, you're guaranteed to get 1 of each Tetris piece. Because that's the case, Guideline Tetris opens up to being extremely predictable, which is how you can play so fast. So I'm going to try to do, I already messed up something here. You can do a lot of really neat tricks because it's so predictable. Let me see if I can try to set it up here.
Joey, can we widen the game feed to help Logan out a little bit?
Do something here. See if this
there's
works.
one question in the chat that might be distracting. Someone in the chat asks, "How are you so talented and also so handsome?"
That's my brother. Thank you, Alex.
You have your fans.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful that you have that relationship with your brother.
Yeah, honestly, this is the first time I've ever heard him say something like that. So thank you.
I mean, we also have a very pro kind of like bear crowd, going on in the chat regularly. So
so we're just keeping it up today. We're just maintaining.
That's our brand.
Yeah.
Game Center Bears. Okay. Wait. So what's going on here?
Okay,
so why do you keep restarting?
I'm just restarting because I'm trying to set up different things to show off what you can do with Guideline Tetris.
Wait. What do you mean you're just restarting? What do you mean you're setting it up?
I'm restarting because the Tetris bag changes every single time. I'm trying to get the easiest possible combination to do tricks, basically. So I'm going to set up something here. It's going to look really weird. It's going to look like I'm messing up a lot.
I wasn't going to say anything.
So, Guideline Tetris also has something that's called the super rotation system. And the super rotation system basically means you can do stuff like this.
Wait, what? How did that's not possible. That's not allowed.
It shouldn't be possible. That's exactly right. But it is, and it was actually an accidental part of...
What? That's just going through the wall, kind of.
It was an accidental
You're wall
piece
hacking.
Of programming. That's exactly what's happening. I guess it's called a T-spin. And that is only possible in Guideline Tetris. I'm sure someone on the internet will correct me. Only possible in Guideline Tetris. I think I could spin this too. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's where the competitive aspect comes into play. It's competitive aspect, the T-spins, the predictability of the pieces, you can set that up, that shape that I set up. You can do that basically every time in a bunch of different ways.
Wow.
So, see, I already messed up. And that's where things start to get really expansive. Like, again, you think Tetris is a complicated game. It is a complicated game, but at the same time, it's 7 pieces every single time on a grid of 10. And as long as you solve that puzzle once, it's as if you're solving the puzzle over and over again. So I just set it up again.
Oh my god, you little show off! Oh my god. Oh.
So this is
my God.
actually what I just set up in the competitive battle Tetris community. That's called the DT cannon. It's called the double triple cannon, and that's because you're doing a T-spin double followed by a T-spin triple.
T-spin double triple.
Yeah. So here, let me try to set it up again. I only learned how to do this a couple days ago too. Like you told me to be on this stream, and I was like, I gotta learn.
Oh, and then you were like, I'm going to show off.
I gotta learn how to be better at this game. So yeah, here's the T-spin double, T-spin triple.
Wait, it recognizes. Oh, it recognizes when you're doing that, actually.
Yeah, it recognizes it, and I'll show off the battle mechanics a little bit later. But essentially, if you're able to pull that off in the middle of a battle, wow, I just did that. If you're able to pull that off in the middle of a battle, you're going to send like absurd amounts of damage. So then you can set up more T-spins like that, and that's Tetris, baby. That's
oh my god, what?
That's competitive Tetris. Sort of in a nutshell. There's definitely more to it than that, but...
Wait, so the fact that the system recognizes this thing and it's been codified into like a formal thing you do.
Yeah.
Is Puyo Puyo Tetris like designed for competitive play in that way?
Yeah, definitely, it is. Puyo Puyo Tetris is as close to like a legitimate puzzle fighting game as you're gonna get.
Okay.
You can counter people. You know what? Here, let me go into.
Well, it looks like a cute cartoony thing.
It does. Well, yeah. So Puyo Puyo Tetris is like Tetris and Puyo Puyo with just like more anime. Basically, there's a bunch of you pick a character. I'll just go into the versus mode here.
And anime is serious business. When you see an anime
Exactly.
game, you know people are gonna die here.
Yeah, totally. This is my favorite character because she has the coolest hair. I'm gonna play against just the easiest NPC here to show off how the battle mechanics work. So we'll do versus. We're both playing Tetris. So this is what a competitive version or.
Are you gonna destroy this computer? Are you gonna DT cannon?
I am going to DT cannon this computer if I can set it up properly. Let's see here. We're gonna go there. I'm just gonna sacrifice that piece and that piece. You basically want to set it up so that you have a T-piece held and a T-piece ready to go. So that sent 4 lines of damage. It's as if I cleared 4 lines with 2 lines. This is going to send 6 lines of damage. So that's as if I cleared 6 lines.
Oh my god, you're so mean. Oh my god, that poor computer.
That will send, I think, 3 lines, and then you'll see, I'll wait for him to, I'll wait for this computer player to...
Oh no!
I'm sorry. I'll wait for, okay, so I gotta try to...
Oh, they sent you 1 line, that's nice.
They sent me a line. I'm gonna wait for them to send me another line.
Wait, that green piece is going off the edge. That's not bad.
It'll only top out if I put, okay, so they're gonna send me a line, and before... Are they going to send me another one? Alright, this NPC is really bad. I'm going to change characters.
Wait.
A more complicated one.
Wait, this isn't Overwatch? You can just change characters in the middle of the game? What?
Oh, no.
Wait, there are characters? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is maybe I'm overloading it with too much information.
Wait, so there are different characters.
There's different characters. They don't really do anything different.
Okay.
It's more... I don't know. It's more just whoever you prefer. That's the meta of Puyo Puyo Tetris is if you... Oh, whoops. I just messed
Which
up.
anime do you like?
Yeah, it's like, which character do you like? Also, if you hear the audio, they cast, spells when you
They
do
had
large
favorite
attacks.
pieces, each of those characters.
They're all named after pieces, yeah.
Oh.
So my character is named S for the S piece. And there's T.
Oh, so they're all
so
letters.
forth. They're all letters.
That's why that one's I. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Okay, so now
What's
I'm
the
playing...
square piece?
That's O.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, of course. Alright, so he's probably gonna kill me, yeah. So I'm basically want to show off how the counter mechanics work. This is something that actually exists because of Puyo, but like in Puyo, if somebody sends you damage, I keep messing this up. If somebody sends you damage and you attack back, you can send that attack back to them.
Right.
Basically stronger. So I'm gonna try to set that up here. We're gonna go there. Let's see. Is he gonna? Okay, so he just sent a line. So now I can throw that back and cancel it out. So that's why this game is sort of like a fighting game, is because you can do stuff like that.
So you'd wait for them to time it.
You could wait for them, yeah. If you wanted to just
Okay.
make sure that you're not going to get totally destroyed. You wait for them, you counter back. There's a lot of strategies involved with that. There's something called, I don't know, I'm probably not going to be able to set this up first try, but this is a strategy this is really hard to do. This is a strategy called center 4 wide, where you try to build, and I already failed, you basically try to build a well in the center of the board that is 4 wide, which is why it's called center 4 wide. And then once you have that well set up, you can do some really cool stuff. I have to be very careful setting this up. I'm just going to spin that in because I've got nowhere to put it. Put that there. That's going to go there. Oops. That's fine. Okay, so now I've got a center 4 wide well. Now I can do this, which is basically chaining several attacks, one after another. And you'll see that I'm starting to send pretty large amounts of damage.
Oh my
over.
god. Yeah, it looked like you were gonna lose.
Yeah, and
then you just
destroy
suddenly-
them. Yeah. So that's called chaining. S2 is in the chat. Okay, so this is a...
Hi, S2.
S2 is actually more or less how I learned how to play this game. S2 is like a Sega representative, I think. I'm not sure. I'm probably wrong.
S2? You're
S2 can correct me.
what?
He's an extremely good Puyo player, an extremely good Tetris player.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
So good, super supportive of the community. Very, very much how I learned how to play this game. Anyway.
Your brother wants to know more about the deep Tetris lore.
Tetris lore. So the lore, the story of Puyo Puyo Tetris is one day planets collide, and all of a sudden
we're on a spaceship. It's like a cockpit of a spaceship.
This is the Tetris spaceship, and as you can see, there's Puyo pieces. S2 says they're just a regular person. I'd beg to differ. There's Puyo pieces on the Tetris ship. That's because worlds collided, and Tetris pieces are now in the Puyo world and vice versa. And they have to work together to try to right the dimensional shift that's happened. That's the story of this game. And you play the story by battling characters, and it's very silly, very fun.
Julie, can you widen the dock a little bit?
Trying to think of what else I'm...
What? Can you widen the document on the left? Yeah, thanks. Just so I can see our schedule and keep doing. Okay, we have about 7 more minutes.
7 more minutes. Okay. Let me think of some other things here that might be important in terms of what it means to be a competitive Tetris player.
Yes, please.
So let's go back to the marathon mode. If you want to be good at Tetris, the first step is more or less learning how to play fast. And that's how I got into it. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna flex and just play a video of my most recent sprint. A sprint is when you clear 40 lines as fast as possible. That is how people sort of gauge.
Oh, it has lessons built in too.
It does, yeah. The lessons are built in. It'll teach you how to like T-spin. It'll teach you how to hard drop and all that stuff. If you want to play, this is a great introduction.
Oh, and it has this replay system. That's what we're gonna do.
So I'm gonna show off my most recent sprint. A sprint is more or less how you measure how fast you are at the game. This is my fastest sprint at 1 minute and 1 second. Yeah, which like people are much faster than me. There are so many people that are way, way better at this game than I am. But the way that you play fast, and I'll see if I can point out any strategies that I use. There's something called finesse. So if you notice, whenever I put a piece just one grid off of the left or right, I force the piece all the way to the right and then push it one back. And that's basically called finesse. That's like the counting frames of Tetris.
Right.
That's how you most optimally place a piece in Tetris. Like you'll notice sometimes when people are playing for the first time, they're spinning a piece over and over again.
I don't do that. Right. I'm not basic. I'm not a fucking. Okay, keep going.
But really, just to be fast at the game, you have to use both buttons. You have to rotate in both directions and use finesse. Like place the pieces as optimally as possible, so that you're not wasting any time, basically.
Oh, and the anime is happy with you. That's
Yeah,
nice.
That's the reward you get. So that's finesse.
Okay.
There's how many other strategies? There's so many.
But it doesn't
other
measure. That's not
strategies
like a
here.
formal stat. It's
not.
showing you.
No, that's just a strategy.
Okay.
There are ways to practice that. If you go onto, I think one of the best online resources for learning how to play Tetris is called Hard Drop. It's the Hard Drop wiki, Hard Drop Discord. Just look up Hard Drop Tetris. They have so many resources. It's a huge, very welcoming community. And it'll teach you how to do all the spins that I showed off. It'll teach you how to do perfect clears. That's something you can do if the pieces come out of the bag in a just right. You can do a perfect clear. It'll teach you center forward. It'll teach you all those strategies. And it's actually once you start playing, it's really, really accessible. And I think also just from a game design standpoint, I think students could probably learn a lot by looking into, specifically students that are making puzzle games, I think can learn a lot by looking into the strategies of Tetris. Because, again, it's 7 pieces on a grid of 10. It's something my peanut brain can handle. It's 2 numbers that you have to understand. Once you solve the puzzle once, you've solved it more or less for good.
Someone in the chat asks, is someone writing the captions live? Yes. We have... yes, Steno Knight in our chat has an office in Midtown and is transcribing everything. Mirror by Night, really great. Hire her for everything.
Extremely impressive, I gotta say.
You could say captioning is like the Tetris of chess or something, right? I need to workshop that in my head a little bit more, but there's something about there's probably frame counting and live captioning, competitive live captioning. Oh my God, Mirabai, get down here, please.
I would actually be extremely interested in this. Let's see here. Yeah, so I'm having trouble doing that. I did a perfect clear when nobody was watching, but it's. What else can I say about it? What other questions? Do you have any other
Let's
specific questions?
My questions.
Let's see here. I'm trying to do a perfect clear. I don't think this is gonna work out. This is a setup called the perfect clear. Again, this is going back into why Tetris being extremely predictable, specifically guideline Tetris. You always know you're getting one of every 7 pieces, so you can do stuff like this where if I had a line piece, I would have been able to do a perfect clear there. And that is also the strategy. If you do a perfect clear at the beginning of a match, you'll send, I think it's 10 lines to your opponent. It's going to blow them out of the water. Oh, here we go. Ready? So you do that, you do that.
Oh my God. Wow.
So that's stuff you can do if you do a little practice. Do a little, get into Tetris 99. Tetris 99 is free. That's also guideline Tetris. It has all the same. It has the super rotation system.
How does the Tetris community feel about Tetris 99?
They love it. It's amazing. It's so much fun. There was, I think it was at TwitchCon, they had a donation incentive to quote-unquote speedrun Tetris 99, and Blink from the Hard Drop community played basically the hard lobby of Tetris 99 live with people in the crowd playing along. It's a great way to practice because you're going to be playing amongst basically the best players in the world. Everyone is playing. All the competitive people in Tetris whose names are out there that people know are playing, and you can play against them, and you won't win, but you're going to learn a lot about playing the game.
Because you'll watch them and you'll see what they're doing.
You'll watch them, and I mean, like fighting games, every fighting game more or less is about survival. If you're not the best at the game, that's fine, but if you can survive against really heavy attacks and adapt and improvise, you're going to get better at the game, and Tetris is exactly the same way. The more you play it, the easier it's going to get. I think it's one of the few games that are really like that, where just by playing it, you're going to get better. And it's just absent-minded, just pushing buttons, placing blocks. And I definitely would highly recommend that people check it out, because I think it does have a very high skill ceiling to play competitively, but it's accessible, and the resources are out there. So.
Well, maybe you can come back on the stream next year and we can do some Tetris 99 and crush some noobs and be number one.
Yeah, we can do it live. We can play a Tetris 99 match live. I was considering that, but I have to focus a lot in order to do that. So
Understandable.
yeah, I would just be a zombie, just sort of open mouth staring at the screen.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
And if they want to learn more, or if they want to learn more about Tetris community or get into it, what website should they visit?
So just Google Hard Drop Wiki, Hard Drop community. It's expansive. You can join the Hard Drop Discord. Everyone there is extremely nice. Everybody just wants to see everyone get better at this game. So don't be afraid to reach out and say hi to some people. Also, I mean, you can reach out to me on Twitter. Maybe I'll like respond to the Game Center tweet saying, "Hey, I was playing Tetris."
Oh yeah, wait, we didn't know your Twitter.
It's fine. We don't really need it. It's not necessary. It's @_Tiger the Lion. You can reach out to me. But there are people who know way more than me. But locally, if you're in New York and you want to play Tetris, please let me know. There is like a local Tetris community in New York. They do a tournament every, I think it's like third or last Saturday of the month at Xeno. That's XENO.
Is that a bar? What is that?
It's like a gaming space, like a DIY,
okay. Cool.
very brightly lit gaming space. That's run by someone named Salted Bread, I think. There's a Discord for that as well. So yeah, come out and play Tetris. It's a community that needs to grow, and it's a beautiful game. So thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Thanks so much for coming on. Logan, everyone. Okay, let's switch off to our next segment. Apologies if you just tuned in to check out Tetris. But you can stay on for our next segment too if you want. Our next segment, we're going to be talking about a game called Dear Reader, which is on the Apple Arcade and is on a bunch of like top 20, top 30 game lists too, featuring 2 designers and developers from Dear Reader. So come on over. You should get mic'd up. Here you go. You can put it in your lap or on the table, whatever, it's up to you. And let's try to pray this works. Pardon me, sorry. So we have a Mac Mini sitting on here. Because it's an Apple Arcade exclusive. Is it on? Make sure you hold down the button. It should turn orange.
Mine is on.
Hold it down?
Hold it down.
Yeah, cool. Okay, cool.
But yeah, no, that's right. It's only available on Apple platforms, so Apple TV, Apple OS, and iPhones, and on Apple Arcade.
Do you want to introduce yourself
Yeah, of course,
real quick, too?
Please.
Yeah, so I'm Diego Garcia. I was on the visual team for Dear Reader. I worked on the juice and sort of overall visual design of the game.
And yeah, my name's Alexander King. I started out doing a bunch of miscellaneous tasks, but ended up as the systems designer and economy designer on the game.
So,
and
do you want to start by playing, and we can talk about it?
So I'll let's just switch over.
Oh, it is totally. Wait, did it turn off?
I think it's just asleep. There's a light on it.
Oh, here we go.
It's awake now. You're gonna have to play on this screen.
That's
unfortunately.
this is gonna be.
Sorry. Just do your best.
I will. I always do.
That's all we can ask of you.
All right, so this is Dear Reader. We call it a game of literary portions at times. We've called it a game that lets you curl up and play your favorite book. Basically, it's a literary word puzzle game. And we are dynamically constructing puzzles. Oh no. We can't see the nav bar. This might be a problem.
Is there a nav bar?
Are we able
Yeah,
to shrink this or resize this window?
Let's see. Let's try to shrink the
Yeah, we can't see the bottom nav bar of the game, so we can't get out of the bookstore. Oh, that's out now. Yeah. I'm thinking of the other version.
Thank you very much.
All right, so this is our library. So the library is where you collect books that you've unlocked in Dear Reader, which you do by earning ink by playing books. And the way the game works is if we go into Alice in Wonderland, we're opening up our new book. Oh no! Was that crash?
I don't
Couldn't
think so.
We were good for a second.
Wait, did it crash?
Something happened.
I don't know.
Live television, folks. Okay,
let's. I'm gonna DM our programmer.
You need to find. Wait, Joey, we can't see what's going
sorry.
on now. Okay, yeah. Go back to the App Store. App Store is that one, right?
Oh, thank you.
And then maybe type in Dear Reader.
But because it cloud saves, I don't need to worry about crashing and losing my progress. Apple Arcade. So that doesn't.
All right. So
Everything's falling apart.
So as soon as me and Diego join a project, any kind of
There we go.
enterprise, it will inevitably fall apart. Here we go.
All right.
we
So
go.
let's go back in the library and see if we can open a book again. Hopefully we won't crash. Oh boy.
Whoa.
Let's hit OK.
Wait, why does it keep crashing?
I think that was a report for the previous crash.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So let's hit play.
Big money, no whammies. That's not great.
No, it's not.
Let's try a different book.
It's something with the computer, I think, because it was working yesterday. Let's try that again.
Could we QuickTime into my phone and stream the phone?
Yeah.
Well,
So while we're bringing it up, and we can always just bring up a trailer or something.
squeeze in a little bit.
Of course, Robert. And it'd be great to have you play as well. Let me see if I can get the Raven going.
Oh, why does it
book
keep?
open animation?
It's so we went with the lowest bidder for the animation.
Rude. Yeah, it's my animations that are crashing the game.
So let me just bring up the website. It's no problem.
Can you stream from your phone into the Mac Mini? Is that a thing?
I might be able to AirPlay, actually.
Is that? Wait, AirPlay does that?
Is it on NYU Wi-Fi?
No, it's not on any Wi-Fi.
Well, then I can't AirPlay.
Oh, right. That wouldn't make sense.
All right, so
we
yeah,
can
sure.
talk about it and work out the technical kinks.
So the way the game works is we're feeding in public domain literature and dynamically creating puzzles out of that literature. Actually, you can probably say more about that process than I can.
So yeah, the way that the process works is so. With the initial idea was to take public domain literature, so books that are literary classics and are published before 1923 or 1924, and yeah, it's good, going close, and construct puzzles that are using the actual text of these books as the constituent part of the puzzle themselves. So you can see on the screen here that we put up, you're actually looking at the actual text of this book. So you're seeing the text, and we're scrambling it up in a procedural way. So there's modes where we rearrange the lines, there's ones where we rearrange the words, and the solution to every puzzle is always the original text, the completed text.
Right, and if you look here, you notice that each of these examples is the same page of text. So every time you play a chapter of a book or play a page of a book, it could be a different mode depending on what you have unlocked, how far you are in the game.
And yeah, and that's something that I think surprises people, that the puzzles are generated procedurally on the fly the minute that you open it up. I saw after we launched, I saw on a FAQ game guide site, someone had written a walkthrough for Flatland, and so oh, here's how you solve this page, and it was just this poor guy.
Yeah, it was only taking into account the first puzzle node, I think.
Yeah, so it's just but as soon as he relaunched the game, it would be a completely new set of puzzles. And then the other big aspect of it is that it's real literature, real classic literature. And so the sort of process of doing that was actually very intensive. That in ingesting the literature into the game means that somebody has to sit down and sort of curate these sections. Since we early on experimented with having the entire book, so the entirety of Alice in Wonderland or Pride and Prejudice and stuff, and it's just too much content. It ended up being hundreds of levels in the game, and so we ended up having a curated selection. So some person has to do that, and so we actually have an entire content curation team headed up by a woman named Mehek Khan, who's a post-colonial literature PhD at UC Berkeley and friend of the Game Center, who went through the initial selection of books and making sure we had a diverse selection of authors. And then she was joined by Tony Pizza and Karina Pop, also of the Game Center community, and Colleen and Eric. And did you do any book chapters?
I didn't do any book edition. No.
None. I did a couple that are not in the final game because I was very bad at it.
Nice.
And, yeah. I did Heart of Darkness. It was hard. And so finding those selections of chapters is really challenging. And so we have people who are doing level design and content. It's like a weird
because
melding of
you're
these
sort of
different
deciding,
skills.
right, like what chapters are interesting to play in the various puzzle modes. Give you a sense of the book, right? Because we don't. I mean, first of all, it's just like maybe too much to put in the whole book, but also like we need to communicate what the core of that book is about, and make sure we're not like missing necessary beats, right? So it's a pretty big process, and one that I think we're still sort of figuring out.
And so having people who are just doing that kind of level design, but also curation and taking all these things into account was one of the only ways we're able to kind of get this much content in the game. Because we launched with 30 books, and we've got another 50 in the pipeline. I think another 100 after that. So it's a lot of content to have.
Yeah, and then so the art team, which was really just John Sharp and me, but with some sort of like work had been done in the past by Winnie Song, who's now at the Game Center. Our job was to sort of take the text and give the game a sort of unique feel. So John was into this sort of like mid-century modern design style. We were looking at a lot of classic book covers as inspiration, and then we were trying to find a gameplay style that would match with that. And so my role was to do things like the individual, every animated element basically, but my biggest focus was probably the interaction and juice of the gameplay interior to the game. And so when you look at the mode animations again, I was sort of deciding on this sort of semi-physical interface style where you have these fragments of paper that are sort of slapping around on the page and trying to give the player like a little bit of like an exciting feeling, or really communicate that actions are positive or negative when they do them.
Which went through a lot of iteration, right? I remember earlier versions of this that were like even just the selection being blue and that being this kind of core visual language. There were like a number of different steps to get to that.
Oh yeah,
right?
I mean, when I joined the team, the game was set in like a dystopian future world. You were like receiving communiques from you were like a spy master, or you had a spy master, and you were like decoding the literature. And we had this whole like underground base that I had illustrated. So yeah, it's really gone through a ton of iterations, and the decision ultimately was that the interest of the game comes from the books, and we could spend all the time and resources building this big imaginary world, but ultimately it kind of takes the focus away from what we want to focus on, which is the works themselves.
And I think that one of the things in showing the game that we've really noticed is that I think you and John's art style here is so sophisticated and adult it feels like a New Yorker or something. It's sophisticated, it's modern, it's pretty stylish, and it's not an art style that people expect from a mobile game. The kind of dominant art style in mobile is this sort of appeal to everyone, very rounded edges, bubbly, which is a great style. I
may have tried to push this game in that direction here and there.
Yeah, right, because it allows you to communicate. It has a lot of great affordances, that sort of style. But I think there's something really nice about seeing something that's like, oh, this is for me. This is for this has this kind of New York. It's a yes to design art style.
I think we were also thinking about like the kind of player that we wanted, right? And we weren't necessarily, although we want all players, and but we want to communicate to people that we're thinking about literature, and I think we were sort of thinking about the like crossword player, right? Not necessarily the like twitchy gamey player, but
right. And that was showing it when we were showing it at GDC under its prior name, Lost Words, that changed the title before release. One of at GDC there are a lot of mobile developers, and their marketing, they know that like teens are their audience, or kids and teens. And so when we were handing they're like, what is this? Like it was like mysterious that you could have a game that looks like this be on a phone.
Yeah, it definitely sets it apart. It's interesting to think about how many iterations of this game there have been.
So I mean that's something we've alluded to a couple times talking, and so the core design here was a local number 12, Colleen Macklin, Eric Zimmerman, and John Sharp, who originally conceived this as a Twitter game that was going to be about taking snippets of different texts and rearranging them, and it's going to be on Twitter, so they need to be short, and where can we get content for this? We'll use public domain literature, and then went through a number of iterations in that before becoming, it's about the books. And then I think that's when you were saying when you were joining, it was a multiplayer.
Yeah, when I
game.
joined, it was that sort of like Spy Master version, where it was a multiplayer game where it's like certain players would dearrange the text and send it to other players who would then have to rearrange the text in like a weird like reverse game of horse. Yeah, and ultimately, I think we found that the dearranging is just less meaningful than the rearranging, and so we focused on the single player.
And that's why I think one of the benefits on a game like this is if we go to the credits that almost everyone involved in the production of the game is in some way in sort of games academia. That only our two programmers are not also professors somewhere, and that having the time. So if we were like a full-time game studio sort of thing, we'd never have been able to work for this amount of time on it. We would have had to get it out the door at some point. But there's something really nice about having the time to iterate and polish, and just thinking about some of the playtesting feedback that shaped this game, that we were able to have it test and then iterate on those changes. Like it seems like it would be a disadvantage that nobody's working on the game full time, but that in fact kind of gave us the space to explore this weird design space.
Yeah, it was interesting. It also created attention, right? Because we had many moments where it was like, we need to get this game out. We've been working on it forever. But yeah, it was good that we gave ourselves that space to kind of noodle on things, and we did so much internal testing, so much playing of the game. Did we mention Peter Berry and Eddie Cameron?
No, we haven't. Our super talented developers. That there was a lot of it. It's for a game that looks. I think it does a great job of the simplicity of the presentation belies this like sort of unbelievably complicated. The number of things that and if we could show
even all this animation.
Right.
Like I mocked up all this animation in Adobe Animate and then sent a GIF to Peter, and he built it. Right.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And just the number of like the iterations that all of these puzzles had to go through. Like if we're rearranging letters, we can't swap. I remember versions of the game where the two words that get switched are both the. Like, we can't do that. So then it's like edge case on edge case on edge case.
Yeah.
And even just to ingest all the content that Peter built an entire CMS front end for the book team, where we can enter in all this text into this backend system so that it's getting ingested straight into the game. All that stuff, really wouldn't be possible without Peter and Eddie Cameron, who joined in the run up to the final launch. As we had to adapt the game for Apple TV and Mac OS, which were not the original platforms.
Yep. Do you have a favorite book or mode?
Mode, I'm a big fan of
In the
rearrange.
game. Yeah.
This one where the lines swap, I just find it's easy, and I'm bad at the game, so it's a plus for me. How about yourself?
I really like anagram. So we have a mode that takes the words and rearranges them into other words. It anagrams the words, and it just creates these like weird, funny situations sometimes where I don't know. It's like Mad Lib style, creating text that you wouldn't expect. I think my favorite book to read through was probably Sultana's Dream. I think that is one that we actually have the complete text in because it's quite short.
That's right.
And I had never read it, was totally unaware of it, and I just had a great time reading through it.
A book-wise, I really liked Tony Pizza found Artique, I forget the author's name, a turn-of-the-century, sort of a Victorian island at the top of the world style plot. The woman builds an airship and flies to the Arctic and finds a magical utopia there. It's like very strange and
game-like.
Yeah, game-like and dreamlike.
Can I butt in with some questions?
Yeah, of course.
So I've scrolled through this a little bit. I'm wondering, some of the books and stuff you have on here are a little bit saucy. Emily Dickinson can get quite saucy. Chad has pointed out that you have Sappho on here. Is this game? Is like Apple okay with like that kind of stuff, or did you have to like censor the books, or are there any books where you had to be like, actually, this is too intense. We shouldn't curate this into our library.
So I'll paraphrase from Karina, Toni, and Mehek, who were the ones who took charge on this.
Right.
But there were I think there were more concerns, less with sauciness than with some. I'm trying to think of a polite way to say
racism,
old racist text. Yeah,
racialized language.
So we wanted to have Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn in, right?
Oh my God, there's like N-words in them.
There's just no way.
Right?
There's no way
Oh
to
my God.
gouge that. And so it was so those were decisions we had to make in the curation process. Was just that we just don't we talked internally a lot about, well, we could how we could give the player context for understanding. There was just there's just no way that we're gonna have that in the game, and we don't want the player to have to think about the complexity of old racist language. So that was really the area that we were mainly concerned with. I think sauciness, I think we're okay with.
We're pro saucy.
Yeah, pro sauciness. I think the raciest thing, a book that I read about.
The raciest, non-racist.
Raciest, non-racist.
Thing.
Risque.
I'm excited for Carmilla, which is a vampire. It's Wikipedia described as the prototypical lesbian vampire novel.
Oh.
Which I didn't know if you knew that had a prototype. But it does.
Cool.
And that has there's some really nice scenes. I bet it's 18th century or 19th century literature. So it's even at its raciest is tame in the present. So it's nice. There's some loving kissing with a vampire lady.
Of sexuality.
Yeah, the acknowledgement of that is what's racy in the 1900s.
Well, if anyone has Apple Arcade and you want to check this out, this is Dear Reader. Read some lesbian vampire
Coming soon.
romances.
Not in the game yet.
Wait, not yet. That's DLC.
Yeah, DLC.
We'll have to get the battle pass for that later. Definitely check it out. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having us, and maybe we'll try and get a working
I'm sorry it was
version
working yesterday. That's so weird, right?
But no worries. But thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, mic off. We have to give those over, unfortunately. We only have these many mics. Okay. Thank you. All right, let's move over to our next segment. Our next segment is our weekly news roundup that we call the Discourse with Naomi and Frank.
Hello.
Let me hook up our stuff.
How's that? The chat seems okay.
The chat will let you know.
All right.
We need to turn on the mics as well.
They were saying Alexander's voice was a little weird, but
That's not nice.
no. But I mean, the audio quality, not his speaking voice, which
his
is
actual voice.
mellifluous.
Of course.
How's that
All right,
sound?
so
Good?
what do we have today?
Oh wait, I did not open any tabs. All for like 2 minutes.
Okay,
All right, so there's a bunch of stuff
It's
going
the
on.
season finale of the Discourse.
Right, thank you for being with us
Thank you.
all semester.
This is my favorite time of the week. I love this.
I look forward to it too.
Naomi, by the way, people should understand how the Discourse works. Naomi collects the links, and every week I think I have a sense of what's going on Twitter and game-related stuff. But Naomi is a genius at finding these interesting
I wake
stories.
up at 5 a.m. on Thursday, and then I trawl through a bunch of mailing lists and roundups and things like that. And I just assemble this set of links and then Robert says, there's too many links on this list.
And I say more links.
And we don't get through all of them. We're going to try to go through them quickly today.
Yeah.
We have some old business left over from last week that we also have to revisit.
There's a lot of hot takes coming your way.
This is
I hope
so
you guys
many
like
links.
takes.
Oh my God.
It's too many. Maybe,
And I hope you
do you have to open them all in advance?
them to be of a
Kind
certain
of, because then I have
temperature.
to open up our Slack. Like they're seeing my
Check in
screen,
with
so I have
Joe, sorry.
to
Okay.
Let's check in with
open
chat.
up everything. This is why tab fatigue is very
I'm not
real.
really the brain. I'm just I'm more like the
Heart and soul.
the source. I'm like vomiting this stuff up, and
You're
then,
the eyes and the stomach.
Okay, we are ready to go. We have like 15 or
react.
20. Let's
You
switch
must not
over.
avert
All right.
your eyes. The poet must
all right, yeah.
not
So listen. So
avert
this
your
is
eyes.
actually from a little longer ago. the Death Stranding griefing issue.
Okay.
Right? So
people are building cars and trucks to block the cave where Conan O'Brien lives in Death Stranding.
Exactly. And sometimes they're building a road, and you're like, oh, that's great. And then they've, as part of the road building, like they've actually built the road, and then they put a truck right on the road.
Yeah. So when I heard this, I was like, yes, this is interesting. Death Stranding just got interesting.
Well, this is now Death Stranding has culture,
yeah.
right? Because that's kind of what culture is. It's not just like people helping each other and being like, oh, here, I made you a nice ladder to climb up this mountain, or oh, now here's a zip line. It's also people doing stuff like this for reasons that are perverse or
it makes
beyond imagining, or just to throw up obstacles for each other.
It makes me sad to have to hit this one and quit this one so quickly because it's such a complicated, rich topic. Like trolling, like the cultural status of troll, like because to me there is what these people are doing is harming each other, but they're harming each other inside of a game in a way that I find like weirdly charming and sweet. Like there is a form of trolling which is just a desperate attempt to like connect through this like these layers of
and the
tissue
game is already
that
about
separate
how
us.
hard it is to get from one place to another.
Yeah, and it is about connection.
Right, and the objects that you place are about making that process easier. So there's also, it's a way of, you're using the language to say one more thing, which is, oh, but actually, no, it's going to be harder.
Yeah, what makes this a kind of, in a strange way, a poignant attempt to is that it's using the materials of the game and the systems of the game in a way that they were not intended. That's what makes it information. Like, if you're just doing the things, if you're clicking a button to send a Hallmark card to someone, that's not connecting. What's connecting is like figuring out how to to arrange those Hallmark cards into a message and have people realize that you're knocking on the glass of the system in which we're all trapped.
And there are ways like you can have a thoughtful placement of a nice object in this game in a way that actually feels like you're thinking about what someone else might be thinking.
But it doesn't. It feels like a Hallmark card.
Okay.
It feels like you're just pushing buttons and enacting connection
or
in a way that
Hideo Kojima expected you to.
Yeah.
And this is clearly, so the Death Stranding team, they didn't anticipate
They didn't expect it.
Right, which is great. Like, we often say, like, that's the moment that we're really excited about as game designers, when somebody does something where it's like, oh my god, what did they do? Right?
And if Kojima were half the genius that we think he is, he would look at this and realize, yes, this is one of those moments.
Right,
this is like the guy reading what games you have on your PS4.
Let's make a caveat.
You know,
Hideo Kojima does not know how to design multiplayer games very well. That's like not his background. That's sort of an ambition. This is kind of true of when Genova Chen dipped into multiplayer games with Journey, and now he's doing Sky. And it's like an idea, a fantasy of what a multiplayer game is. This is an opportunity for people to connect, to do things together at a grand scale, right? If only we could get people to be nice to each other, right? And that's just like, that's sort of the wrong way to think about
Kojima should have seen this
people work.
as an opportunity to do something genuinely weird and cool, and instead they have just clamped down on it and removed it.
So that now you can delete vehicles that are in your way.
It's a cowardly response to what could have been an amazing thing.
It's an under-resourced response, right? It's like, okay, we just got to fix this. We weren't prepared for this.
The resource that's missing is imagination. I don't think the guys, the people that run EVE Online have more resources than Kojima.
Well, yeah, but their operation is set up towards like thinking, oh, okay, someone's doing something horrible. What other stuff do we add on top of this to allow players to respond?
It's an attitude. It's like, okay, let's roll with this and see where it goes.
Death Stranding is set up as a product. It's like fire and forget, and like sooner or later, nobody's going to be maintaining these servers, and it's going to crumble, just like Hideo Kojima's last multiplayer project.
And all of our lives.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Keep
Next.
going. So this is this is a bummer. We can go through this quickly, but Campo Santo, great little independent game developer, the creators of Firewatch. They were acquired by Valve a while back, and people were like, "Oh, hey, that's great! They're getting major funding and backing for their next project." Now their next project is on hold. Valley of the Gods.
And they've rolled their desks over to the Half-Life Alyx team.
If you don't know this, like at Valve, all the desks are movable.
No one tells you what to do. You do whatever you want.
You do whatever moves
you. And in this case, you all want to roll over to the Half-Life Alyx game.
Gabe wants you to do.
Which, by the way, we talked about Half-Life VR last week, or 2 weeks ago, and I was kind of like weirdly into it. I was like, oh yeah, maybe this will be really great. Then I watched the trailer, and boy, oh boy, is that disappointing. It is just the most Like it's just everything you've already seen a million times. There's kind of no hook. There's no interesting. There's a lot of cool design stuff, and I'm sure that they'll do a good job.
Sure.
But by setting it between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, they're basically telegraphing their lack of ambition. They're saying there's nothing new here. It's just a bunch of
It's a tech demo.
It's a retread of a bunch of stuff you've already seen, but it's in VR.
You can skip it if you want.
Very disappointing.
If you don't have VR, it's okay. This is not really a thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Next.
So this
But
is
it
a bummer.
sad.
This is a
It's
bummer.
sad. Campo Santo. I'm sure they're
getting
crying
absorbed.
into their mojitos as they float around on the money pond at Valve. Okay, next.
Okay, we definitely wanted to pay attention to this. So the question here, so Riot has gotten hit. This was the result of some video games journalism.
Yep.
Is it right? So let's just acknowledge Cecilio D'Anastasio just left Kotaku to now work at Wired.
Good.
Best investigative journalist of this decade.
Good
Sorry,
stuff.
Jason Schreier.
Yep.
So now
Is this
Riot
the
has to
system-
pay this amount of money, like $10 million to every woman who has worked at Riot.
Oh, I thought it was 10 million total.
10 million total.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
a pool.
is this the system working as it sort of should? In a janky way, but maybe kind of like...
Does this change anything, I think is the question, right?
It doesn't not change anything. I mean, we're talking about it.
We're talking about it, sure.
It affects my opinion. I think it affects the opinion of people who might want to work at Riot or not work at Riot.
I don't know, did they fire the guy who was going around grabbing employees'
I hope
genitals?
so. I assume that there was also some firings going on. I assume.
I'm not sure. I think that guy might still be there.
I'm sure it's not enough, but like, what is like the idea that we're going to transition out of this? Like, it's not just the past few years that have been unfair to women and non-men in our culture and in gaming. It's the entire history of the human species that has had this weird asymmetry that has been unfair and exploitative and bad. How we're transitioning out of that is going to be messy.
Right, or it'll take a long time.
It's going to take a long time, and it's going to be weird and messy. This seems like a step that's in the right direction.
It's a note. It's putting people on notice. That's how I think of this stuff, right? That there are tons of more horrible things happening out there that are not bubbling up, right?
Yeah.
But now I think it's before my feeling as someone who's worked adjacent to these spaces at least, sometimes in them for many years, is that. In the past, it was possible to kind of get away with this stuff more or less with impunity.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
You've been put on notice.
So now it's like, okay, you can't get away with it impunity.
Yeah.
You're
and
going
the stuff that they were doing was terrible.
Yeah, it was like
crotch
very
grabbing,
extreme.
air humping, like a list of like hot
You're
girls
not
that
hot
work
enough
here.
To be my secretary kind of stuff.
It's grotesque, and basically they should be put out of business. But this is the next best thing. Okay.
Right.
Go.
Okay. Keep going. This is
cool. This is like the thing that's cool about this is that it is.
Tell people what it is.
So this is a little scene in ROM culture of people hacking ROMs to turn famous old 8-bit games into roguelikes by randomizing and scrambling the location and of objects and items, and also the values of different variables. So you can replay some of your old favorite games.
Right, and it's completely different.
And it's different every time. And sometimes it's broken, and sometimes you're stuck, and sometimes it's new and cool. But every time you play, you're discovering new. I love this. I think this is so cool.
Is it the future?
It's one strand. It's one stranding
Yeah.
of the future, and I think it's super cool, and it kind of points in a direction that I'm personally really interested in and excited about. Procedurality and moving us in towards new structures and new ideas for how to create games.
Yeah,
I love it.
And some of these are going as far as to try to prevent lock conditions, like unplayable or unwinnable versions. I don't know. It's a lot of really interesting stuff. Sometimes they're like mashing things up, right, as is shown here.
And you know what this does? It puts the player it kind of blurs the line between player and designer.
Right.
Because now as a player, you have to look at situations and be like, is this winnable? Is this solvable? Like so much of being a regular video game player is understanding, internalizing the basic heuristics and rules of game design and saying, okay, I can read this game because I know that a game designer made it for me, and therefore there's this set of standard tropes that I can expect And all of a sudden now, you can't expect
They're
that.
disruptive.
It removes all of those
Right.
tropes.
It's no longer just a comfy chair that's been made
Yeah,
for you.
and-
Now it's like a strange landscape. Maybe it's like trying to find a place to sit in a junkyard,
Yeah.
and that's sort of more interesting.
And it's good because video games are too comfortable. They're too much like soft furniture that we
Right.
relax into. That's fine for some games to be like that, and I'm a big fan of cozy games
Mm-hmm.
and comfortable games. But I love this idea of weird, hard, interesting games that blur
Right,
the line
they
between
may not
player
be
and
playable. I
creator.
mean, and that's true, for instance, like most solitaire games, or at least
Yes.
half of solitaire games are like, you might get just a random deal that you can't win.
So thumbs up to this. Next.
Wait, let's go to this one that says bonkers over here. So, yeah, this is related, right? So this is a new, recently announced indie game. A lot of people got excited when this was just
What's it
announced.
called? It's called
Smash.
Scroll down for a second.
Smash Up?
Yeah, it's called
Super Mash.
Mash.
Super Mash, yeah. So Super Mash
is a version of this, but it's like designed.
right. So this
Yeah.
is like there are 6 different genres. Yeah, we should maybe play that.
Yeah, play the
6 different genres of game, and it makes new games by, if you decide, you take one genre and you mash it up with another genre, and then you get a new game. So you see like, oh, what? These graphics are in a JRPG kind of thing.
This is a local team. I think they're in Queens.
They're in Queens.
Shout out to New York City Makes Games. And I think there's some alums from the NYU Game Center on this team.
So we should acknowledge that.
So,
yeah. Good on you guys.
And this is like, yeah, it's a weird commercial version. It's very meany. This is like a sort of meany commercial version of this other folk version that people are hacking ROMs.
So just in case any of you are watching, what I want to say is like, what I would expect if this game is good is that it's not just graphics from one genre overlaid onto graphics and game engine from another genre, because that's boring. Everyone should sort of know at this point that that's boring, right? The hard thing to do here is kind of what the randomizers are doing, right? Like what actually happens when you combine things in a way where the result is not predictable, and sometimes it's just broken and makes no sense.
Yeah.
If all of this stuff is sort of orchestrated in advance to tell a funny joke like, haha, now a JRPG character is in a top-down shooter, then I don't know, not that interesting.
No,
but
the thing that's promising about this is the weirdness. We should keep video games weird, embrace the weird, and I think this is good.
But we don't mean just in like a pre-authored joke kind of weird way.
But in like a genuinely the combinatory surprise of genuine creativity.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a kind of weird, which is like I think of as 12-year-old weird, where you just like yell something random for no reason. Like you just yell Merv Griffin, and then it's like and it works on Frank.
Awesome. That's the new meme. All right, let's go.
Okay.
Okay, now it's a donut. There's a new circle inside the circle.
Yeah, so you see that blue circle, that's the smaller circle in the new PUBG. You can't go in that circle.
Yep.
You can be in between the large circle and the small circle. So instead of a shrinking circle, it's a shrinking donut.
Yep.
I don't know. I think it's
that's game design, folks.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, it's weird because it really is fun to watch people try to do game design live, like in public in this very prominent way. And you can see the problem that they're trying to solve, which is people have figured out sort of these optimal ways of playing.
Right.
People are trying to avoid, the designers are trying to avoid camping, right? They're trying to avoid people
because you just go in the middle of the
setting
circle.
up. Yeah, it's weird because the actual optimal strategy, or it used to be the optimal strategy, was the opposite of camping. The optimal strategy of PUBG for a long time was you spend your entire time in the blue.
Right.
You spend your entire time farming items in the death zone, and you sort of carefully calculate how long you can survive.
Right.
And you never encounter another person until you get down to the final table.
Right. And then you're
it's a way of cheating the whole system. Like you just avoid combat.
I think they tried to patch that out.
Yeah, I think they
while
probably
ago.
successfully patched that out. Now there's a new exploit, which is you head for the center, and they're patching that out.
Right.
This is the new style of game design, by the way, where when you encounter the edge of a system, the designers scramble to change the system.
Right, you just try to sand it off as quickly as
It's the
possible.
opposite. Yeah, it's the opposite of what happens in arcade culture, in fighting game culture, where you find the edges of a system and you have to live with that for 10 years because you're never getting a patch.
It's not gonna change.
And you discover a year or two in, oh, actually, the thing we thought was the exploit, there's actually a counter
there's a
to
counter
that.
to it, right,
Oh, and by the way, a year later, the thing that we thought was a counter to that, there's a counter to that.
Right.
And it turns out that you can live with a system and dig into it and go deeper and deeper and deeper. And this is not the contemporary aesthetic. We don't do that anymore. That's not what esports
Well, because
is
then
about.
everyone is yelling at Epic about what the next patch of Fortnite should be and like fix our problems, make it better for it, rebalance it.
And that's
this is
fine.
broken.
And that's fine. This
It
is
is what it is.
I like the fact that there are both of these cultures and systems in place. Fighting game culture still exists.
Right.
We still have these long-term systems that people are grappling with. But then we also have this new kind of like scrambled. Every week, every month, there's a new season. We change the meta. It's always being mixed. And now it's about more spontaneous, nimble adaptation rather than that digging in. And they're both fine. I just want to make sure that we know what we're trading off when we make these kinds of decisions.
Yeah, interestingly, they both work, and people get sick of games either way.
Yep.
And then the communities wither eventually. It doesn't really matter what you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Next.
Okay, the
this is a
Jesus
about
Christ
being
game. You got to play that trailer.
So let's look at the trailer. Okay, so a couple things about this. So it's a game where you're Jesus. Okay. First of all, this is a good trailer. I just want people to, like the reason we're talking about this and the reason there's news articles about this trailer is actually not bad at sort of explaining what the game is and what it does.
This woman is blind. I think that's why her eyes are closed. And now you're Jesus. You're first person Jesus.
Yeah.
Look, Jesus' health is going down.
No, it's not health. I think, so this is the thing that I'm interested in. What's in that bar? I think it is some kind of sacred power. You use it to do a miracle. So it's not health, it's your love.
Here's my interpretation is how much love your Father has for you.
Yeah.
And when it's empty, he crucifies you.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a new game mechanical understanding.
It's kind of deeply blasphemous to picture Jesus as using a resource.
Yeah, he's like, oh,
like
okay,
manna.
I got a certain number of miracles I can do. Look, now he's out. He's out. Or see, it's really low.
No, it's really low. He's gonna forgive.
Well, he's gonna kill the
that are
two
crucifying.
thieves so that they die at the same time.
Yeah, I forget what happens in the Bible, but
well, you get to see the last miracle here, which is when he's like almost. Oh wait,
he gets
it all back once he moves the stone.
He responds.
Yeah.
Now, here's my thing. Here's my theory about this.
Yeah.
If you make a game about something, you're making a parody about that thing. That's my theory. Like all games are parodies. Yeah. Because you're taking like if you make a game about love, in a weird way, you're also kind of like saying, what if love were actually like this little clockwork machine, you know? And let's imagine that. And it's funny. And that's why I think so many games have this weird quality of feeling blasphemous, feeling like a parody, feeling like a deconstruction or a reduction, because you're trying to map something that is amorphous and nebulous onto something that is clearly defined and precise. So all games are parodies.
Yeah, or it makes you aware of the artificiality of what you're doing in some way.
Yeah.
Like this with the resources. Look, there's another one.
Also, people think this is fake, but hello, all games are fake. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, they made a trailer. They haven't made the game yet, but it's in production because you see the 3D stuff. This is a perfectly legitimate way to make games. You make a bunch of trailers. It doesn't matter. They've made some assets. They've floated an idea. They're going to make it because
I think
it's
interesting
popular.
is that these big news.
This is how games are made.
These large news sites like the Post or Washington Examiner or a kind of conservative news site are like, this is not a real game.
Yeah.
Which, as if it's somehow unbelievable that somebody would make a Bible game.
Also, just look at Steam. All games are like this now. Have you looked at Steam? Every game is some weird,
this one's really
psychedelic, blasphemous political thing. Half the games on Steam are samizdat. Half of them are like weird Eastern European political. Like every game in the like gross underbelly of Steam is like one of these weird experiments.
So it's no longer possible to distinguish. This is like casting the demons out of the pigs.
I think this is just Diablo. I think they actually
so Diablo is about to get put into some pigs.
All right, next.
Right, so that's the one about that. Yeah, is it even real? Let's keep going.
Next one. Let's go to the Olympics. Okay, let's not talk about this one. It's IP. Who cares? Intellectual property is for boomers.
Stadia, blah, blah, blah. This is more IP stuff.
Stadia? I want to go to the Stadia one. Go back to the Stadia one. Here's the headline for Stadia. Scroll down.
Yeah.
Hold on to your lunch, everybody. Scroll down. Scroll. Hold on to your lunch. Scroll.
Yeah, so this is Polygon's take on like what's the killer app for cloud gaming? It's like, you can play Destiny.
Did the Stadia controller eat your Xbox controller? That is a chunky boy. Woo!
The whole story of designing this controller is actually, it's sort of interesting. They're kind of branding this as a controller that's meant to be gender agnostic in terms of hand size and coloration.
Okay, sorry.
But I don't know. Yeah, this was. What was it?
It should be donut agnostic, in my opinion. That's what it should do.
Oh man.
Okay.
But the point here is,
he could play Destiny. You could grind on it.
Well,
Stadia's
it's
not
good
so
for
bad.
grindy games.
Yeah.
Which traditionally, like an appointment gaming, is done on portable device.
Yeah.
Right. But now everything is a portable device thanks to cloud gaming. Is this a great world that we're living in?
By the way,
I don't know. I think this is not a great rationale for cloud gaming.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to have some use and be useful in some ways because it's hard to predict. By the way, great photograph, Chris Plant. Shout out to Chris Plant. Beautiful. He's the Annie Leibovitz of
controller photography.
Polygon.com.
Yeah.
All right. So next.
Well, you wanted to go to
Olympics. Let's talk about the Olympics real
Yeah,
quick.
so
I don't want
that's
to talk about the
that
pumpkin
one
guy
there.
dancing. I couldn't. Okay. Look at the Olympics committee that has decided that esports are not appropriate for the Olympics.
Wow.
Wow, that's a cool committee. That's a cool looking committee. Okay. I don't care about esports in the Olympics. The idea that there are people in the Olympics should be playing Hearthstone or something? Like Overwatch in the Olympics? That's just
this is something of concern. Like for esports promoters and people who are really feel like they have a lot riding on esports, the future of esports. The idea that esports might get into the Olympics is a big deal.
Can I show you the future of esports in the Olympics? Robert, will you go to the video I posted at the bottom of the Slack channel? It's in the Slack channel.
You have to go back to Slack.
Go back to Slack.
Frank's very last message.
And it's my last message.
Let's explain the background here. So the Olympics, they had made some statement a while back. They were like, "Oh, esports could be interesting in the Olympics," and then people freaked out. And then they were like,
invited me to come be part of this discussion.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And then I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, you have to pay for your own way? Look at this. Okay, so go back to the beginning for a second. Scroll back to the beginning. This is what fencing looks like. What else? We have other stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch more
3 minutes
stuff
left. We can go through 5 things.
I recommend this article.
Ace News.
Especially if you have not really bothered to educate yourself about asexuality, this turned out to be an opportunity. Death Stranding, there's this piece of lore. It's just one tiny part of the game, but it posits one of the reasons people became alienated from each other and lived in bunkers and no longer are connected is because a bunch of people were asexuals. Which is a kind of weird way of thinking about asexuality as if it means
normative.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what was really interesting is that this came out at right around the same time as everyone was noticing that there's a great asexual character plot line in Outer Worlds.
That's right.
It's the only good thing about that game, which I ferociously nagged last time.
Yeah.
But that, it's kind of very worthwhile. And that's all about how there's this asexual character who has a romance with another character and is full of feeling and passion, and that stuff is absolutely not incompatible with asexuality, which is what Death Stranding gets wrong about asexuality.
Yep.
So I don't know, it's worth reading, especially if if you don't have asexual people in your life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. Agreed.
What else? Oh yeah,
this is, Ninja Can't Cut Bread. It's kind of entertaining.
It's worth watching just because it's fascinating.
Trying to make a sandwich. Is this show where she's not allowed to look and give him direct advice?
This is like Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Right.
The cooking show.
This is like Keep Talking and nobody gets fed.
Nobody gets food. No.
Because he can't
figure out how to cut a slice off the bread.
This is a man who has never had to make his own sandwich. I think that's what we're looking at here.
But the fascinating thing is that he can't look at the loaf and be like, wait, I've eaten a sandwich before. How do I get the sandwich ends off of this object?
Yeah, I have to say, it's actually kind of cute and charming in a ridiculous way.
But because it's a 3D, it's a 3D object problem.
It's hard. Right?
But
hard.
So what's interesting to me is that
Oh my god!
In theory, this guy is an expert at moving around 3D spaces intuitively using a 2D representation, but he cannot slice a 2D slice of bread off of a 3D loaf.
This tells us that what we already know, which is that there's no such thing as transference.
Right.
If you want to get
exactly.
if you think getting good at Tetris is then going to make you good at something. It doesn't even make you good at reverse Tetris. They've tested people on, they just take Tetris and flip it upside down, and the people who are excellent at Tetris are the same as everyone else at upside down Tetris.
Right,
it's the level of transference and learning is really low. So. Two more, real quick.
If you're good at something, it means you're good at something.
Oh.
Donkey Kong originally had a shotgun. I think that just says it all.
Yeah, Donkey Kong should. First of all, I'm more of a Donkey Kong Country guy. I'm not a big Donkey Kong 64 guy. But shout out to the Donkey Kong rap. DK, Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong should not have a shotgun. But then you think about it, and you're like, well, there's cannons.
They replace it with a coconut gun that shoots coconuts. So,
I know, but it's just the image of the shotgun. I think no guns. Monkeys should not have guns.
Okay, and then is there anything else?
Okay, just a nice article from Heather Alexandra.
Yeah, I
she was very mean to me on the internet once, and so I've spent the last few years trying to make her like me. So I constantly am trying to she's also a really good writer and has good opinions in a particular vein of kind of like a smart, interesting AAA aesthetic.
There are very few people on the internet who have consistently interesting, good opinions about games. Yep. Heather Alexandra has a pretty good batting average. Mm-hmm. So I'd say, look at these games. Freedom Cry's on there, interestingly flawed games.
Yep.
Remember Me and
Call of Juarez. I think we all know that one's good.
Yeah,
and
Lightning Returns.
We got to give her one there.
Virginia. Yeah, there are a lot of sort of gems. These are mostly larger games, but they didn't get as much love as I think maybe I would have expected. The Missing, really good game.
Heard of that.
You've never heard of The Missing?
It's a sweary game,
this is a sweary game that's one of the most important LGBTQ games of the decade.
Come on, Robert. Come on, Robert. Also, there's a Robert Yang shout-out in the last article, the Rock, Paper, Shotgun article, that I also put in the Slack. So let's see if we can... there you go. Yeah, so click on... This is AI Dungeon 2. And look at the very first line. Over the weekend, something, Robert Yang. Look at that.
Oh,
it comes
making
full circle.
An AI gay.
The discourse wraps around on itself.
Good job, Robert.
Reaches around.
Yes, it's true. Robert worked hard enough and put enough scenarios through AI Dungeon until finally it made AI Dungeon gay. And it took a while. It was there was a bunch of abortive non-gay attempts. And then suddenly it was like watching an artificial intelligence come to life. Like that moment when you suddenly realize that it could be more than the sum of its parts by having gay sex with Robert.
The future is artificial. The future is intelligent. The future is a dungeon. And the future is gay. That's what we're here to tell you.
That's it. That's it for the discourse for this
And that's
year.
the discourse.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks
Naomi.
for having us, Robert.
Thank you, both of you. So that was the discourse. Naomi and Frank, pleasure as always. Now we'd like to move on to our last segment of the day, where we like playing video games on this show sometimes. And today we're gonna play a new game called Shenmue 3. I mean, it's not new; it's recent, right? Anyway, come on over. Let's do this. So joining us on the show for Shenmue 3 is I'll just move over here. Is Matt Parker and Rosa Ita.
Hello, thank you for having us, Robert.
Oh, thank you for coming on the show. Let's try to set up the PS4 and hope it doesn't break.
So while the PS4 is getting set up, I'll talk a little bit about my personal history with Shenmue and why I think
you have a personal history with Shenmue.
I mean, I'm playing it. I wasn't a developer or anything. Let's not go crazy here. But back in the early aughts, I like saying aughts because it makes me feel very prospectory and old-timey.
Yeah, Switch.
There was a game called Shenmue that came out for the Dreamcast. Have you ever played the Dreamcast? Are you familiar with that system at all?
Just heard of it.
You've heard of it? Yeah. Oh, thank you. So it looks like it's working. Great. This is my profile. I've been playing Spider-Man recently. I heard it got a bad review on the show. I would like to engage with that at some point on a different level. I think it is mistaken. I think it does a great job of representing New York as much as you can in such a situation. But back to Shenmue 3. Shenmue 3 is the opposite of modern video games. It's very much like the game that I played in the early aughts, where it is a game that is super slow. It is, most modern video games are constantly trying to excite you and give you plot twists, and everybody's related to each other, and there's constantly explosions. And Shenmue 3 is Frank was talking a lot about the future at the end of this segment and what the future is, and Shenmue is about the past. It literally takes place in the past. It's a period piece. Takes place in the mid '80s. You are in a rural Chinese village. You don't have, so it's pre-internet, and none of those things are an option. But it's more like, even for the time, you're in such a rural area. There's no telephones, there's no news. You don't learn anything about the outside world. You're, in theory, trying to figure out who killed your father. It's like living in a real life or simulated kung fu movie, but you have to live through all the points that they would cut out of a kung fu movie. So if there's a part in the original Shenmue, for example, they would like, hey, I know something about who killed your father. Meet me at the docks tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. You'd be like, okay, well, it's 9:30 now, a.m.
Okay.
And you just had to figure out how to kill a day. Like, you would just wander around your town looking for things to do until it was late enough that you could go to sleep and wake up the next morning to do something. In Shenmue 2, they made it so that you could skip ahead to like the next important plot point, but I still like to wait for things. I still feel like that is the nature of Shenmue, is living this weird artificial life slowly. Like, Shenmue 3 makes Ian Bogo's a slow year for like a moderately paced year. It really feels like, even the menus, like look at this menu scene right here.
Yeah, it's very old style.
Yeah, they're keeping it real. Like, they are very much representing the way things used to be. It is a game from like a different time, and I kind of love that about it. I want to make this very clear to the audience at home. I love Shenmue 2, Shenmue 3. A lot of the things I'm going to say are going to sound like criticism. If you say a word like boring, people always take that as a negative. If you say slow, people take that as a negative. But I kind of really enjoy this aspect of living out a slow life. So you've never played Shenmue in any form before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we got on the air, you said that you had Googled it.
Yes.
So you read a Wikipedia page about it, presumably?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay. So this is Ryo Hazuki. This is our main character. Oh, I don't think I'm able to move for some reason. Oh, wait. I have to cancel out of saving from that archaic menu. So here I am walking around the house of the woman I'm staying with. Her father has gone missing.
Okay.
We are trying to find him. It's been weeks now. She's not, her concern is not raising at all. Like the same level of concern she was when he first went missing.
Possibly will only find his body.
You'd think, but she seems to have the faith. So let's go talk to her.
Good morning, Leon.
She's saying good morning to us.
Did you
We're saying
get
good
enough
morning
rest?
back. I don't know if there's sound that the people at home can hear. We're gonna have a pretty boring conversation. Then I'm gonna run into town. So I'm gonna like drive us around, and then you're gonna play the mini games.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave. Every time I leave in the morning, we have to have some sort of conversation. So I'm gonna run towards town. Here comes the conversation. It's gonna be the same conversation we have every morning.
Wow.
See you later.
Where she says, "See you later." For something that you need to have this cutscene every morning. We literally just talked, but she has to run out and say good morning to you. And then you can choose where you want to go. I'm gonna actually just stay and run instead of teleporting us over to where we can go, to show how long you actually have to go before you actually get somewhere interesting in this game. So in previous games, they would not have had this thing where you can skip to other parts of it. I'm gonna engage in one of my favorite activities, which is looking for wild herbs that we can sell or exchange as we go along. So we look around the ground here. If you see a red glowing circle, that means there is an herb that we could collect for various different purposes.
It's almost like Elder Scrolls.
It's like Elder Scroll, but imagine you were living in the 80s in rural China and there's nothing mystical or interesting happening at all.
It won't become a vampire or something.
Yeah. Like, think of a game that you would just go for this long without any kind of encounter. Any kind of... Oh,
I should head back.
Oh, okay. I went off the road here. I was looking at you, and I actually went to an area that I can't get to yet. What I'm going to do is, the way I like to start most of my mornings is I like to go to the local kung fu studio and get beat up.
Okay.
I'm going to, I'll let you, without any instruction. Oh, let's start our first minigame, actually. This is going to raise our endurance for fighting kung fu. This is something called horse stance. So you're going to press this button right here.
This?
Yep.
Horse stance, huh?
and it's going to say horse stance. Maybe I should give it a shot. Then you press left on the D-pad to say horse stance to actually engage with it. You're going to crouch in front of a wooden pole.
Okay.
That's what's going to happen here. You're going to press the X button to make sure you want to stay in line with that. So you want to press the X button a few times. Keep pressing it. Press, press, press.
Oh.
Press, 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 press. There you go. You want to keep that line green.
Okay.
This will go on for a while.
Yeah.
You'll see there's this little meter at the bottom here that's going to go up. That is you increasing your endurance.
Ooh. Nice.
Yeah, exciting, right? Not really. Literally, it's probably as interesting as learning the stance would be in real life, where you're like just standing like this for an extended period of time.
But it's less tiring, so I think it's okay.
It is. And like you can see, this little bar is going up. You're increasing your endurance right now.
I can do this.
This meter up here, yeah, you can. It's slow and boring. But it's also kind of like that's what it would be like to try and master standing in a pose for a long period of time. You're almost done. The timer's almost out.
Yeah, I'm good at this.
Yeah, you are.
Are you having fun?
Yes.
So your endurance went up a little bit. Your overall kung fu level went up a little bit.
I didn't level up.
Listen, you got, this is what
Way
Shenmue's
to go,
about.
right?
Slow progress.
Okay.
So let's exit out of this. And there's another dummy. If you get out of this, he's going to ask if you want to do it again. Maybe I should practice some more? No.
No.
Usually I do like to do this 3 times, but we're going to go a little faster than I usually go for the audience sake, so cancel out of that. If you turn around, you gotta, dual stick it a little bit, you'll find, whoa.
Whoa.
There we go. Turn that away. There's
Someone
another
in the
pole.
chat's wondering what's the pole for.
Yeah, it doesn't serve a big purpose for your squatting exercise. It's to give you a line to line up with, although the line moves and doesn't really seem to have much of a pole. Maybe there's an illustration on it of what horse stance is supposed to look like. Unclear why you couldn't do that anywhere in the world, but you can only train with that. There's lots of those poles around. So let's try 1-inch punch, which is a classic technique, popularized by Bruce Lee, but not invented by him, where you, his version of it was you literally put your hand up against the thing you're trying to punch, and then you punch like that, as much force as you can get in from 1 inch. This version of 1-inch punch appears to be much more than 1 inch from my perspective, but let's try this out. What's going to happen is you're going to see 2 lines that move together. When they get together and glow, you're going to press that same X button. You want to time it to be as exact as possible. Okay. There's very little indication of what is a good.
Oh no.
Let's see. Yeah, you gotta go low. And now. Oh, too slow. And now. Too slow. Right now. A little early. Now. Nope. No, you totally missed that one. There you go. Excellent.
Okay.
Your first one that you actually hit was excellent. This is also improving your stamina. Probably the strength of your fists is getting stronger from hitting a pole with good timing.
I'm just bad at this.
You'll notice that it is maybe 1 inch in screen size. It's really way more than 1 inch in terms of Rio as well. So you're gonna do this for a long time, and you're gonna slowly level up your abilities.
Okay.
If you don't do this and you get into fights, you will get your butt kicked.
Okay.
So you just total grinding, but not even attempting to be more interesting than grinding. Just very clear. Oh,
Yeah, okay.
so our endurance went up a little bit. Our overall kung fu skill went up a little bit. Let's go get beat up. Let's go to the local kung fu dojo. I've gotten to the point where I'm fighting the master of it, so I'm going to take you. It's right inside the doors here. We're not going to do 1-inch punch again.
Maybe later.
This is the game. This game is really just about doing these small mini tasks. You can have conversations with people who have no information.
Excuse me.
This is the local, one of the local kung fu masters. He's an expert. I fought a bunch of his monks. I've beaten all of his monks up to this point.
Which will it be?
I'm not going to tell you how to fight at all. I'm just going to let you try to figure it out.
Okay.
Don't worry, you probably won't do any worse than I do. He's going to beat you up, and then we'll eat some black garlic, which I'll explain in a minute why that's a good thing. So let's do a fight.
So,
And
you've chosen to fight? Then
you're going to end up
I
fighting
shall
him.
be your
He's the
opponent.
top level
Steel
of this
yourself.
particular dojo.
Now,
Yeah.
let us begin.
Good luck.
There's no way to win, right?
I mean, I haven't found one yet, and I've been playing this game a long time. So if you beat him, I will be very upset. I'll put it like that.
Never happened.
I will give you one hint: is if you hit the trigger over here, if you hit the R1 down, or R2, excuse me, you'll do a special move. There you go. Oh, you got him! All right. All right. This is not looking good for me. You can press one of these. He's a kung fu master. The whole point is,
Okay, we're just hunting you.
Also, he's very much about to kick our ass. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he's going to tell us we're not strong enough. Then we're going to say ugh. You hear the same dialogue so many times that there's the ugh. You can't help but memorize it. And then he tells you to polish your technique on the wooden dummy, which I feel like is an insult I should work into my daily life more. Like, I feel like I should, like, if somebody doesn't do well enough at something, I'll go polish your technique on the wooden dummy. So that's how I like to start my day. Now you're beat up. We have to get out of here. If I try to run at this point, you'll see that I get tired very quickly. And I need to eat because I just got beat up and my stamina is really low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat. I'm going to go to food items. I've got this very intense inventory full of all sorts of crap that I only understand maybe 10% of. And I'm going to eat some black garlic.
Oh, okay.
Black garlic gives you a lot of hit points. It's pretty cheap. I highly recommend it to any Shenmue players out there. Okay, I ate a bunch of it. So now
Rosita, do you like black garlic?
I never eat it.
Do you
I
eat it a
thought
lot?
It's
Oh.
kind of like creepy because it's
Yeah.
black.
Is it a real thing?
Yeah, it's real food.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've never actually eaten it.
It's kind of like a fancy, healthy food. That's
Ah.
kind of popular, but it's black
I'm going to talk to, is it like,
and soft.
you just eat it by yourself? Do you combine it with something? Do you spread it on a sandwich? Do you just eat?
Either way is fine.
Okay.
It's not very
Sure
strong flavored. It's just
Yes.
weird.
So that's a conversation you can have. You just say hi.
Want to take over for a bit?
He asks if you want to take over. You're like, no, I'm good.
I'm good.
Like, you have a lot of really
Fine, just
pointless
a day or so.
conversations. These guys are supposedly protecting the village from the thugs.
busy right now.
They're guarding this very important bridge, which is called the Verdant Bridge. Its history is important somehow. I don't know why, but I've discovered a lot of information about it to this point. For some reason, it's connected to these mirrors that are the reason my father was killed. Or Rio's father. It's not my father. My father's still alive. I'm going to take you to... Actually, let's do this. So here's one of the menial tasks you can do to earn money in this game. Let's talk to... This is the uncle of the one we're staying with. You can buy stuff from his shop, or you can chop wood, or among other things. So let's do some splitting wood.
I'd like to help you split
I'm going to let
some
you partake in this game. Yeah. You're going to find it pretty similar to things we've done before. So select chop.
this?
Yep.
Yeah, chop. Ooh.
And you're going to... Yeah. You have a nice cutscene where you limber up. Very important to show that you're not doing the stiff. And then you want to be facing the piece of wood when you press the button. There you go. Nice. You chopped that wood good.
That's it.
Yep. So while you're doing this, I'm going to talk a little bit about why I like this game. This game is like the opposite of modern video games. There's like no juice. There's not like this oversized award for anything you do. You get like, even if some things that seem like a big deal, you get like another task and like maybe a menial, like a tiny pat on the back, but there's not like huge particle effects or anything like that when you chop this wood well. It's just
That's it.
good. And your uncle likes to watch you chopping the wood and tell you you're doing a good job or not a good job.
Normally,
You want to try to miss. Oh, you're too good. You're trying to miss this one.
Okay.
Wait till your face is...
let's
There you
miss
go.
it. Yeah,
So
miss it.
close.
So close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not that much difference
feel
between
good
when you hit the wood or not hit the wood.
Yeah, Uncle won't sing bad.
Yeah, you're probably gonna make about 40, somewhere between $30 and $40 for chopping this wood.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't go as far as you think. I mean, it's like about $8 for, maybe $12 for some black garlic. So you're gonna end up spending most of that money on black garlic anyway to heal you up after you get your butt kicked in the morning by the Kung Fu Master. But this is a lot of the game, and so part of what appeals to me about this game is I've got a very busy life. I'm very overbooked. I've got a lot, and I like make time to play this game, and I'm inhabiting this life of a super 41. Wow,
Yeah,
even more than
lots
I
of black
anticipated.
garlic
Yeah,
for me.
that's gonna be a lot of black garlic right there.
I guess
Yeah,
this should
it's
do
just really slow, and it feels like I'm really living this life. It's like a lot of games these days are about trying to embody a life. And usually you're some sort of superhero and you're overpowered and you're super strong. And this, you're just an angry teenager who is trying to find the person who killed his father and avenge his death. And you do a lot of that by wandering around this village trying to... So here, we're going to go to a local place that people use for amusement in this village. I'm going to buy some tokens for you to gamble with.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Luckily, we've got enough
Buy some
money.
tokens if you
Yeah,
want to play.
there's a very complex economy where you can exchange money for tokens, then you can gamble with those tokens, and you can use those tokens to buy prizes, and then you can exchange those prizes for money. And then you can use the money to buy food. It's very
It's 10
figuring it
yuan
out
for
is part of the
100
game.
tokens.
It's
How many do you
really
want?
so I'm gonna buy 10 yuan. Let's see, how much can I buy? I'm gonna buy 430. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm gonna buy that. I probably should have saved some of that money, but I can just chop more wood later. Now I'm done.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to show you one of my favorite activities in the game. There's a lot of gambling things. This is the classic. We'll come back to this later. Maybe we'll put it in a different area. That's Lucky Hit. Don't get me started on Lucky Hit. But this is a new game that I've really come to enjoy.
Turtle races, huh?
Turtle races.
Hey, here to play?
Okay.
You pick a turtle to bet on.
Village's own
You somehow
turtle
affect
race.
the outcome of whether or not that turtle wins the race. And if you win, you can get a lot of
much will you put
tokens that you can
down?
then exchange for prizes, which you can then exchange for money.
Okay.
So how much do you want to bet? You can go more or less, or 50. I guess 50 is the minimum bet, so you can go up more. How many tokens do you want to bet?
Just 50.
Just 50? Okay, maybe start small. So yeah, there you go.
Let's see
Which
how
turtle
it
will
works.
it be?
Then you pick which turtle.
They look pretty much the same, right?
They are standing on different colors of. I always go with the yellow for some reason. I'm not sure why. He goes through a tunnel, and I just like that little wrinkle for the yellow turtle. So, yeah, there's something a little bit like maybe there's somehow this is a commentary on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but these are regular adolescent normal turtles. So you choose which one you like best. You don't have to choose yellow just because I choose yellow. Choose the one that you would want to race.
Maybe the one next to yellow.
Sure. You want to go blue? Okay. What's going to happen is there's going to be like button presses that appear, and you're going to mash that button when it's on the screen. So,
QTE.
so mash X.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not looking good. It keeps changing. Circle. Here, I'll call it out for you. Square.
Yeah. I'm
Square, square. Mash,
pressing-
mash faster, harder. Zero. Circle.
you're winning. Yeah.
No, she's the blue turtle.
Oh, I thought you were yellow. Oops.
I still don't know how to play
Yeah,
this game.
she's in last. X. Faster, harder, harder, harder. Really mash. Really mash.
What?
Yeah, you might get a little of a blister. That might happen in turtle racing. Listen, turtle racing is not for the faint of heart.
I already lose, right?
If you do, yeah, you'll get better as time goes on. If you do enough good ones in a row, you start to, yeah, look at you're pulling up. You'll get like a speed burst if you really do. There you go, green speed burst, a little particle effect. I said there was no juice in that game. Did you see that juice? A little speed burst there.
I still lose.
Keep going. Keep going. You can do this. I believe in you.
I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Turtle racing isn't for the faint of heart.
Okay.
Circle, circle, circle. Triangle, triangle, triangle. So this game is like Citizen Kane. You ever try to watch Citizen Kane now? Like at the time it was like this breathtakingly beautiful thing, but now people are like used to quick cuts and action constantly.
I'm exhausted.
You're exhausted. So close. In other words, you literally finished in last place, but he said you were so close. Let's not do another race. You get the idea. Let's go somewhere else and play some Lucky Hit, the classic Shenmue game, and another new Shenmue game that I like a lot called Pail Toss.
Oh.
5 more minutes. Ooh. Okay, we're only going to have, maybe we won't have time for Pail Toss, but it's literally throwing a rock into a bucket. So if we miss out on that, maybe it's not the biggest loss. We should have a few conversations, maybe. Maybe I'll talk to a kid on the way there, see if they have any
I
information
need
for
help
me.
with something.
Gonna ask them.
Absolutely not, right?
Oh, almost definitely
I'm
not.
looking for
Yeah.
the abandoned temple.
Looking for the abandoned
You
temple.
mean the haunted one?
Oh, a
You're
haunted
not supposed
one.
to go there, you know.
Okay then.
Yeah, so had no information for us, clearly knew the answer and wouldn't tell us. You have a lot of conversations like that. You have to basically question everyone until someone gives you the information you need. We're going to play some Lucky Hit here.
Lucky hit.
We're looking for the abandoned temple to find
Will you
a
try
kung fu
lucky
master who can help us be better at kung fu, so that maybe we can not get our butt kicked when we fight some. There's a lot of very slow
Don't you have any
leveling up.
money?
Okay, so we don't have enough money to play lucky hit. Oh no!
What?
Oh no! We have to make money real quick. We only have 5 minutes. How do we do this? I guess
Bought too much garlic.
we did buy too much garlic. I
Can
guess
you sell them back?
no, but I can go somewhere else and sell. I'm gonna go to the market and maybe sell some herbs. That sounds more like drug dealing than it actually is. I've got a lot of wild herbs I've collected, and maybe somebody in the village will just. I'm gonna go to the panda market over here. Oh no, I got lost on the way to the panda market. It's down there. Oh no, am I in the? Okay, here we go. Nope, still not in the panda market. Where's the pumpkin patch? Oh, there's no HUD. That's an important thing to note. So like when you're trying to find a place, you just kind of have to remember where it is. You do have like a paper map that you could look at, but it doesn't indicate where you are on that paper map. Where is the panda market? Oh, there's a sunflower grove. Ah, down here. Okay. It's going to be close. I don't know if we're going to actually have enough time because you have to run very long distances to get anywhere in this game. But we're going to play a game of Lucky Hit. There's no way we can play this without playing Lucky Hit. Okay, let's sell something.
Welcome.
He's going to talk.
Come on
We're
in.
going to try and skip
You've
it,
got
but they don't
something
always
to
let you
sell?
skip the
I'll buy it,
dialogue.
and I'll give you a good deal too. You
Yep,
can
yeah.
exchange complete sets of
Yep,
items as
sets of
well.
items. I know. We've talked many times. Let's
I'll
sell
give you this
something.
much for it.
Great. I'm going to sell. I can sell back. I guess I'll sell some garlic that we just bought. Okay, great. I don't know if we got a good exchange rate on that, but it's going to be enough money for us to play some Lucky Hit. Let's go play some Lucky Hit. So in Shenmue 2, you can actually run a Lucky Hit stand, and the way you make money as part of that game is you try to convince people to play Lucky Hit. And so you'll say things like you'll press a button to try and solicit people to come play Lucky Hit. And it gets pretty repetitive pretty quickly. There's basically two things you can say. Would you like to play Lucky Hit? How about a game of Lucky Hit? And you say them over and over and over and over again. And if you say them when someone's close enough, they might turn in and come play Lucky Hit with you. Okay, so let's play Lucky Hit.
Lucky hit. Hello. Will you try
Yeah,
Lucky Hit?
Lucky Hit is basically, it's a lot like Pachinko,
Now then,
but you have a
pick a
single ball that you get to drop into it, and if it falls into the right place when it bounces off a nail board, you can choose from 1 of 3 nail boards.
The middle one.
Okay, middle one looks good to me. You want to get into any of the ones with circles, not the ones with X's. And you're going to drop a ball. That's Lucky Hit.
Alright.
There's something very meditative about this game. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's bouncing around. This looks promising. Oh, that was a bad bounce, I think. I think there's fewer circles. What? Eh? Oh! 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 No! So close.
Yeah,
That was a good one. I think actually you get, yeah, so it's hard to leave on a low note.
try again?
You want to try again? I don't think we have enough money, but
No.
we can try again.
No.
Click on play. Let's see what he says.
Maybe some
Oh, he said no? Okay.
Maybe
Spend all your money on garlic and
We did.
Pachinko.
I think we might have enough money to play Pale Toss. We might not. Let's try Pale Toss. It's literally
Oh, camera froze.
Pale toss?
just throwing.
Want to try pale toss?
Let's play. Do we have enough money?
Thanks.
Okay. We only have $3 left. Try and throw a rock in a bucket. This is what people apparently did in the mid-'80s in rural China for fun.
Yeah.
Is they would gamble on whether or not you could throw a rock in a bucket, and then you could win a children's toy that you probably didn't want, but then you could sell that for money elsewhere. Okay, that was not very close. Yeah. So you want to try and make that like archy thing go into one of the buckets. If you get into the red,
Nope.
yeah, much further. So press this up to go further.
Okay.
So and then you aim with this one.
Okay.
Yeah, try and get it. That blue bucket's hard, but you can try for it. Maybe aim a little bit to the left.
Yes.
Go a little further, maybe. A little further. Throw. No, you missed it. Left, left. Left. Maybe right a little. Yeah, that looks good. Oh! Did that go in?
I don't know.
I think you missed it.
Oh, you can't stop
Okay. He wants us to. We missed all 3 times. He wants us to try again, but we don't have any money.
Yeah. So we're just.
That's Shenmue 3. There is more to it than that, but it is mostly that. It's actually really enjoyable. I know it might not seem like that, but it is very much like a meditation. It's not constant excitement. It is very slow. It's like living a different life. Like, you really feel like you are living the life of this teenage kung fu artist trying to avenge his father's death, but like all the parts that they would cut out of the movie. All the parts where you're waiting. And it makes it feel that much more gratifying. Mm-hmm. So, if this seemed interesting to you, try Shenmue 3. If this didn't seem interesting to you, find somebody you know who has Shenmue 3 and try it, and then you'll be surprised maybe about how much you actually enjoy it. That maybe things don't always have to be car chases and explosions in order to be fun and interesting.
Rosita, what's your final verdict on Shenmue 3?
Okay. I used to spend a lot of time playing this kind of game, maybe mini game, not exactly a huge game. It's like little bits and bits of this game, but I actually enjoy it. It's like it's killing time, and it can make you feel peaceful and doing something.
Oh no, you agree with Matt Parker?
Oh
no!
Do you want to disagree? You were hoping for
no,
like,
it's
this game
okay.
sucks and is boring?
No, I like boring games too.
All right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of our segment, unfortunately. We're just at our time. Thank you so much, Matt Parker and Rosita Wu. I'm just going to go ahead and close out our show now, because we need to pack up and then go home and stuff, or some of us need to prep for our show tonight, too. So, thanks so much to everyone who presented today. We learned so much about sports. What else did we learn about? We learned about Tetris. We learned a lot about Tetris, actually. That was very informative. We learned a lot about Dear Reader and the challenges of adapting books to video game format. And we also played some Shenmue and learned a lot about training and the importance of eating black garlic and everything. Thanks everyone in the chat for hanging out too. Hope you had fun hanging out with us. Tonight, if you happen to be in the New York area, again, we are doing our winter show down here at 370 J Street, 6th floor. That's tonight, 5 to 7, 5 to 8-ish, where it's kind of a casual affair. It's students just setting up their stuff, work in progress stuff, getting feedback from each other. So it's not like a big, fancy, formal thing, but it should be a lot of fun. Feel free to come down and hang out with us too. Again, that's tonight, 5 to 8 p.m. And if you're a student, better show up. No, you don't have to show up. It's okay. There are students here who are scared by that. Okay, thanks everyone for the show. Let's cut to our credits real quick. Let's cut back. And just a quick note on our plans for next year. I'll actually be teaching my streaming class in conjunction with this. So we're trying to figure out how that's going to go. We might transition into some kind of like campus radio format. I don't know. We'll try to figure it out. But the format of this show might be different next year. But it'll still be the same great taste. Don't worry. Anyway, thanks everyone. Have a good rest of your day and weekend. Goodbye.